as you know, we are talking about, the units of progression and their significance for determining goals, content, and sequencing of language curriculum. And in this regard, we have already talked about, linear approach towards, content and sequencing. Now we're going to see modular approach and its significance. Modular approach as compared to linear approach, is seen as an independent approach because it doesn't have any dependence on what has already been learned. So modular approach as compared to linear approach, breaks units of progression into independent units or blocks, and they are non-linear in their nature. So what modular approach to units of progression entails is, each module is seen as a complete entity, and with its goals and objectives. So there are different forms of modules. Obviously we've got skill-based. When we talk about skill-based, we think of developing skills of listening, speaking, and reading and writing as receptive and productive skills. So for example, if we are teaching a reading skill, so we might be teaching sub skills of reading, how to guess the meaning of a word in its context, and the skimming and scanning element. So forms of modules and the functions, the language functions used in modular approach, they could be about everyday life experiences. For example, a language could be about shopping, or it could be about using for emergency services or traveling purposes and post office and banking purposes. So modular approach actually lays emphasis on, as compared to linear approach, it lays emphasis on language learning in terms of its functional element. So modular approach as compared to linear approach has been divided into various categories. So we've got obligatory. There are some modules which are considered to be essential before moving on to the next stage. And then we've got the optional modules, which we could have some choices to choose from a range of modules. So since they are independent modules, since they are complete in themselves, so we need to know whether we are basing the units of progression on the modular approach, whether we are having obligatory or optional modules. So in brief, units of progression, they are very important for language learning. So we need to make important decisions when we are deciding, to choose which progression approach gonna be adopted. For example, if we are going to employ discourse as a units of progression or task-based as a units of progression, so we need to ensure their benefits and their drawbacks.